Hello friends, I welcome you all to this online session of English drama paper BA Part 3 Special English. In the last few sessions, we were discussing about the elements of drama, and in the last session we have completed the definition of a plot. We came across different definitions given by different people. The few of them were the dramatists, few of them were the academicians, few of them were the critics, few of them were the philosophers. And after understanding all these definitions, we came to know that plot is in fact a very important element of drama. It arranges the important events on the stage, and the popularity of a drama or the popularity of a film depends on this arrangement. And therefore, as I also discussed with you with a specific example of the films, that one film become important and second another film become a flop, though the storyline of these two films or two dramas are similar, then also one become very popular. It gets a critical acclamation and audience's huge acceptance. However, the same storyline, but we see that it is considered as a flop. This is happening because of how effective the dramatist or how effective the director is in arranging the important incidents on the stage or important incidents in the scene of the film. So, and therefore, the popularity of a drama and the popularity of the film depends on the plot of the film or drama. So we also come to know that when we think about all these definitions that we learn in the last few sessions, that it is not just what plot is arranging. Plot is arranging the important events. Here the adjective important is very important. As I told you that generally what we see that uh, there is an action, but what I'm speaking with you or you are listening, these are also actions. Or if we were in the classroom, I have a chalkboard, chalk and board, and I will write something on the the board, and you will read it. That is also action, but that is not a dramatic action. Dramatic action is totally different one. We will see it in when we were discussing or thinking about the element of drama as an action as an element of drama. So in this session, let us continue with the plot. The plot is an arrangement of important events, important incidents on the stage, and these important incidents reveal us a story, and the effect of these incidents is depending on the arrangement made by the dramatist and the playwright. So you can see, I give you an example of a Macbeth. You can see the first prophecy and its realization at the end. You can see there is a link. We also think in the last session, when we end the session, we also come to know that Aristotle considered it as a chain of events that were interconnected strongly, or they were connected strongly with each other. So there is not a single event, or there is no a single action or a single dialogue that is loosely connected to the plot of the play or plot of the film. So everything on the stage, I also told you the dramaturgy, the makeup and all these things, the light, the shadow, everything represent, reflects or contribute in the meaning making of the play. So this is what we learn in the last session. So let us continue with the text, this book that we were reading for this paper. So you have seen that there are many opinions on a plot. I think we have discussed this paragraph. It is about the Aristotle, and he discuss. So let us repeat this. See, you have seen that there are many opinions on the plot, but I, this author, cannot conclude without looking at the insistence of the foremost critic, Aristotle, that tragedy is an imitation not of a man but of an action and of a life. So, this statement is very important, especially this part. Tragedy is an imitation not of a man but of an action and of a life. So, understand that this is the period of idealism, एव्हरीथिंग आदर्शवाद ज्याला आपण मराठीमध्ये म्हणू शकतो की हिअर इंडिव्हिज्युअल इज नॉट इम्पॉर्टंट, आयडिया इज इम्पॉर्टंट. आयडिया इज इम्पॉर्टंट. फॉर एक्झाम्पल, a Macbeth as a hero is not important, but his character or his tendencies, his greediness is important, and how this greediness meets its tragedy in the end is important. So the idea is more important than the individual, and therefore Aristotle is saying it is an imitation not of a man. It means that drama film is not the story of an individual, it is the story of a man, not an individual man, but it is the story of a mankind. When we think about the Hamlet, you can see in everybody's mind there is a Hamlet, to be or not to be. There is always a question in our mind, to be or not to be, whether I should opt English for BA part 3 or not. This is Hamlet in our mind. The greediness is in our mind, the Macbeth is in our mind. So you can understand that this is what it is not. Drama is not just an imitation of a man, the characters, but they are beyond that, the representation, imitation of a tendencies and actions, the social behavior, personal behavior, you can even go deeper, and of a life, and therefore it achieves a universal value. You can understand that this is the difference between the dramatic action and the action we see in our day-to-day life, and therefore you can compare these two and you can see dramatic action is more valued, it is giving more than the regular action. So this is what, see that he further explains that since life consists action, plot is the most important aspect and the soul of a tragedy. As I told you, he is calling plot as the soul of a drama. And we also think, or we also consider, we also see that of course yes, plot is a very important part, very important element of drama. Without plot we can't imagine a drama. So Aristotle called it as a soul of a tragedy. He mentioned a tragedy specifically because then the comic writers were allowed to invent their own plot. Therefore, so you can see that tragedy, there is a very strict kind of see, when we were discussing about Elizabethan period, you can see what they were doing. Though they were under the influence of a classical drama or classical poetry, you can see they were also rejecting the classical norms. So this tragedy is written in a strict norms that were given, that were prescribed by the classical authors, and therefore the Greek tragedy plot based on the destiny of man and the gods were involved in the action. So when we think about the Greek tragedy, you can see it is not about a single man, but it is about a destiny of man. For example, Oedipus, King Oedipus, Oedipus the king. It is again a Greek drama. You can see Oedipus is uh, in fact a tendency that always resists in a psyche of a mankind, and as a result of that, it is not what happens with Oedipus is not happening only with Oedipus. It is in fact a destiny of a man. It is in fact a destiny of a mankind, and therefore Greek tragedy follows this kind of plot, which always based on destiny of man, and the gods were involved in the action. Of course, yes, gods were involved in the action. I told you that there are very cheap, फार कमी किमतीला आपल्याला हे सगळे ग्रीक ट्रॅजेडीज आहेत त्या साहित्य अकादमीनं पब्लिश करून जिल्हा प्रिंटिंग प्रेस ज्या आहेत आपल्या सांगली जिल्ह्याचे असेल, कोल्हापूर जिल्ह्याचे असेल, तिथे विकण्यासाठी ठेवलेले आहेत. 30 रुपयाला अगदी मोठे मोठे खंड आपल्याला मिळू शकतात. इफ यू आर इंटरेस्टेड इन दॅट, प्लीज गो अँड सी इट. डोंट गो नाव बिकॉज we were facing a very hard strike of a corona. But this is whenever you get a time, you can go and have that copies. So the tragic poet, that is a playwright, was expected to base the plot on a true events, myths and legends, and so his choice was limited because not many families were doomed. So this is what you can see: true events, myths and legends. They were, so Oedipus Rex is a myth, you can see. So there are several. They were exploring the myths, they were exploring the real events, they were exploring the legends, and as a result of that there is a very limited choice in front of them, and not many individuals were driven to murder or insect that aroused the pity and fear. So this is what, therefore their choice is very limited one. He maintained that incidents presented must be according to the law of probability and necessity. Probability and necessity, these two words are very important. What is happening on the stage, what is happening in the film, it should follow the law of probability. It should follow the law of necessity. There should not be unnecessary actions or improbable events in the play, drama, or in the film. So this is what you can see is important in a Greek tragedy. Then see, plot is the structure of the actions which is ordered and presented in order to achieve particular emotional and artistic effects in a play. So this is what plot is, the structure of the action. It is always, you can see, what will happen in the next scene is already drafted in the plot, and as per the director's plot or as per the dramatist's plot, these characters were enacting the actions, and it reveals, or it is directed towards a singular point that gives you a singular meaning, and therefore you can see it is a structure of action, and this structure of action gives you a specific experience, it gives you a specific effect that you can consider as a dramatic effect. So while is which is ordered and presented in order to achieve a particular emotional and artistic effects in a play, it helps to give the play an organic unity and a coherence that makes the play easy to understand. Of course, yes, it these two words, organic unity, you can see what is, there are several events that were arranged in the plot, scene after scene, act after act, you can see. And these in when we watch all these things on a stage, you we consider it as a drama because it gives us a singular meaning, it gives us a singular effect, and therefore it uh, helps. So this plot helps to maintain an organic unity. Plot maintains an organic, so you can see the first scene of Macbeth, the witches and Macbeth, and the second scene is totally different. First is on a battlefield, second is in the chamber of a Duncan, third is uh, in the bedroom of a Duncan. You can see the events were happening at different places, the characters were different, but the storyline is the same, and this storyline is maintained with the help of plot. As a plot arranges or plot gives a structure to the action, it gives you, ultimately it gives you a singular meaning, and that is called as a drama or a play. So it gives, plot gives an organic unity to the drama, coherence that makes the play easy to understand. So there should be a coherence. If we were watching a Macbeth and there is no coherence at all, what is happening in the first scene, what is happening in the second scene, we don't know. There is no coherence, there is no logic, you can see. it is very difficult to understand us. A good play should therefore possess a unified plot. So there should be a unified plot. A good play always possess a unified plot. Plot in simple terms is the arrangement of a story in such a way that there will be a sequential, logical and chronological order. So this is very important. What is it? What is a plot? So this is a simple definition of a plot. You can see what is it? Plot in a simple word, plot in a simple terms is the arrangement of a story in such a way that there will be a sequential, logical and chronological order. Sequential, logical and chronological order. You can understand this. All these things are very important to maintain a unity in the plot, unity in the action. So the plot should be arranged in such a way that the action start from the beginning, rises to climax and falls to resolution. See, it arranges in the form of exposition, discovery, point of attack, complication, crisis, climax, denouncement or resolution. So these are the parts of the plot. Exposition, that is the beginning of discovery. A something that is a twist is discovered, then point of attack, then complications, and there is the crisis, then climax, and then the resolution. So this is what you can see the structure of the plot. So see, we will see it all these things in detail. So some people confuses plot with the story. Of course, yes, many people think that what is the plot? Plot means a story of the drama. This is not a true thing. To them, plot means a story which the play tells. So this is not the correct one. Why it is not correct? Because plot is an arrangement of actions. Everything is in plot. So plot is very important elements in a drama. It is therefore necessary at this point to make the distinction between the plot and a story, so that you will not fall into the same error. So we will distinguish, or we will see the difference between the story and the plot. So what is it? See, a story is a series of incidents whose development does not necessarily depends on each other, which means that the incidents may or may not be related to connected. So this is the story. Story is a series of incidents, and it is not necessary that every incident should be connected with each other. So it may be loosely connected, or totally different incidents may happen in the story. However, see the plot. Plot, on the other hand, is the way the story is arranged, and it thrives on casuality and logical unity. So this is a very important. The logical unity. There should be a logical unity in the plot. Without logical unity, we can't achieve the coherence. We can't achieve the status of an organic whole at the end. So this is what is important. See then, plot on the other hand is the way the story is arranged, and it thrives on casuality and logical unity. In it, one incident happens, and as result the next one happens, and the situation must be related to each other. So there is a chain of events, and these events were interconnected with each other. One thing is happening, therefore the second thing is happening. Then there is another thing, reaction to the first two. Then the fourth thing to the reaction to the first three. So you can see that there is a chain of action in the plot. So it has a beginning. So every drama has a beginning, it's a middle, and there is an end. And this is what a basic structure of the plot. Beginning gives a rise to the middle. So you can see something is happening. So you can see the Macbeth. Macbeth gets a prophecy from these three witches. A seed is sown in the mind of a Macbeth by these three witches. That seed of a greed to be a king. So this is the beginning. Then you can see it gives to the middle, where the King Duncan accepts to come to this Macbeth for his honor to dinner. And when he is sleeping, this Lady Macbeth and Macbeth stabs a dagger in his heart. So this is what you can see is a uh, uh, middle. Then the crisis, that he becomes a king, all other flee away. Then there is a crisis between two, uh, Macbeth and the other people, and eventually Macbeth get killed by the army. So this is what you can see is a beginning, middle, and then the conclusion. So a beginning gives a rise to the middle, which in turn raises the dramatic question that is answered in the end, thus completing what was started in the beginning. So this is what, as I told you, Macbeth. The first scene is the prophecy of uh, these witches, who say that you will be killed by a army when a jungle of so and so came to your palace. So when army came, they bring a branches as a shield to them, and the scene is like a forest is coming to his palace. So the first thing and last thing, the first prophecy and its realization in the end, you can see that there is a interlink between these two things. Then see, dramatic plot is also expected to produce a result or an effect on the audience. So this is also very important. Dramatic plot is expected to produce a kind of effect that arouses pity and fear in you. When you watch a film, you can see when a drama hero or heroine cries, you also feel sad about them. So this is what many of us, most of us, were also cry with them. They laugh, you laugh with them. So this is what you can see, the effect that is inserted, that is uh, given by these play or these films on the audience. So it should produce an expected result. You can see the Hamlet's trauma dilemma, that to be or not to be, we can feel it when we were watching the Hamlet. So the playwright therefore tries to fashion his play in a particular way to produce a particular impression on the audience. So this is what you can say this. So there should be, so for example, if there is a tragedy, you can see the from the beginning to the end, from the beginning a tone is set that this is a tragedy, and it is designed it as a tragedy, and therefore in the end obviously it is a tragedy. So it is a fashioned in that way. So this is what you can see the plot of the play. We will stop here and continue the same in the next session, because we were running out of time. Read this same material. This is in fact published by some other international university, but it is very useful to us. Very basic things were given here in this same. So go, it is available online. Go through it and try to read and check out the notes. So we will stop here and continue the same in the next session. Thank you for listening.